Interestingly, I heard you talk about the guilt the other day.
Mm.
Now, there's a lot. In fact, there is, I guess, a friend of ours. She may well listen to this at some point. Who's got quite famous in the UK as a mother of triplets. Who's created this movement called "Fuck Mum Guilt," and literally has got into all the papers talking about with that, and that's her and that's the
It's there. I
headline.
mean, yeah, I have. There are these what I call scary mommy websites in America, and they're international now. They're websites that, like community boards that give women who hate children, hate pregnancy, hate breastfeeding, and it just gives them they're like complaining boards, but they're devastating to look at because you see so many women are suffering. I mean, it's not just that their babies are suffering, they're hostile towards their children, and you have to imagine that many of them have attachment disorders. You have to imagine many of them had postpartum depression. You have to imagine many of them suffer from losses and traumas themselves, in that they see children as parasites, and they just want to do what they want to do. And the idea of sacrificing or taking responsibility for their children in a certain way is devastating to them. So again, do I judge those women? I look and I get so sad at those
Mm.
boards and those websites. So it sounds like this is another scary mommy kind of.
She's a really wonderful woman, but I can't help but think that the as we say this, the rhetoric around society and the rhetoric and sort of like almost like the banter of no one warned me about this, and no one told me that having kids was going to be this hard, so I'm basically just gonna opt out. I mean, that I think it's just got a grip of the whole of the narrative, really, and that's why I think your narrative has struck a chord with a lot of people who don't necessarily have that voice, who want to go out there and say, I just actually am going to take this time to bring up my children. There's not much for social media. There's not many headlines with that. I'm going to bring up my children. It's not as sexy to the algorithm as the negative stuff, right?
Well, we have to make it sexy again. I always say we have to make nurturing sexy again. But, I mean, I think when we get rid of guilt, too, it's such a strange idea. Guilt is like physical pain. If you break your ankle and you keep walking on it or playing basketball on it or whatever, playing soccer on it, you're going to do serious damage to that ankle. So pain is a signal feeling, and it's meant to make us stop in our tracks and get help. So is guilt. Guilt is a sign that you're in internal conflict and that you need to stop in your tracks and look at the conflict and think about it and process it. And so it's very dangerous to tell people to ignore their guilt. It's like telling people to ignore physical pain. I mean, powering through is something that Hillary Clinton said, I'm going to power through. She ended up almost dying in the hospital from pneumonia. I mean, we don't want to power through our guilt. We want to stop. It's a signal feeling. It means that we're in conflict. It means that something feels wrong. And so you don't want to tell women or men to power through their feelings. You want to tell them, look at your feelings, examine yourself, and then you'll make better choices and decisions regarding those conflicts. But don't ignore them.
Trust yourself, trust yourself.
Don't be afraid to examine the conflict.
Mm,
So
mm.
this woman, I guess, is saying, don't examine your conflicts. And that's very dangerous.
Well, she's heard it. Let's see what she goes with. Thank you for that. Thank you for that insight. It's I'm sure will resonate with many, either inconveniently in a truthful way, or just affirming what they're feeling.
I mean, listen, there are many women who, will decide, I can't mother. I've had too much loss and trauma, and my background is such that being with my child is so painful, and even the help I'm getting is not, or I'm not willing to get help. Delegating the care of those children to a single surrogate caregiver, kinship bonds, preferably a grandmother or an aunt, but then if not, a single surrogate, a babysitter, a nanny who's loving and nurturing and sensitive can save some of those babies.